Hello. This is a video that I'm not particularly looking forward to doing, and but it's one that I believe is timely, and it was a video I was going to be making anyhow. And at the time that Robbie G commented on my video to ask me about firearm carry on Disney, at the time he posted that comment, nobody could have predicted what was going to happen with the shooting incident in Aurora. Now, I will not be one of those people that is willing to surmise that if a concealed carry person had been in the audience, it could have been averted, or open carry would have averted it, or whatever. Arguments will be posted for the contrary and everything else. What I do want to open up this video with is a disclaimer. And I want to make everybody watching this aware that I believe in an individual's inalienable rights to self-defense and to self-defense multiplication. And as a result, that would include a person's right to keep and bear weapons. So if at any time watching this video you feel it curling up in your stomach like, oh my gosh, he's anti-gun, go ahead and click off, cool down a little bit, and either come back later or don't, okay? Now, in the case of Disney, getting back on track and to answer the question of Robbie G, in the case of Disney, Disney is a no weapons please type facility, and it is private property. Now, if an individual believes in personal property rights, then I believe an individual should be respectful of private property rights of a place to set the rules of entry on their private property. And in the case of Disney, it's no weapons allowed. Do I personally believe in that sort of thing? Well, I don't know how to answer that correctly other than to say that on my personal property, I do not ask that people be unarmed. If a person is armed as they come onto my private property, I allow them to continue to be armed. My friends, guests, whatever. And I am personally comfortable with that. I do believe that when a private property person requires a disarmament of people on entry, at that point, that individual's defense becomes the at least partial responsibility of the property owner. So if you have a location that requires that a person be unarmed or disarmed, then you are at that point, in my opinion, taking on the responsibility of that person's individual defense. And when you fail in that defense, perhaps you should be held directly accountable. And I mean to the utmost extent of what an arbiter would deem appropriate. So if a person loses their life as a direct result of you unarming them while another person remains armed, you need to be held directly accountable, perhaps, for that incident. Now, that goes for private property. And with the result of the other part of the question is, did I carry while I was at Disney? And the answer to that is no, I did not. Now, what would be the consequences of a person carrying their firearm on Disney? Because Disney openly displays the rules of entrance to their property as being unarmed, if you violate those rules of entry, at that point you are trespassing. So, at the full extent of the law, you are no longer lawfully carrying. You are armed and trespassing, which you put those two together and it has a very serious consequence. Now, if you were to be searched at Disney and they discover your firearm in the as you're coming up through the entryway, then what will most likely happen is you'll be asked to either return your firearm to your car, or depending on the situation, you may be asked to leave the park. And if you refuse to leave the park at that point, you would be trespassing. I see them as giving that process a fair shake. So yeah, I didn't bring my firearm as we were staying at Disney for the 4 days. Now, what it requires as an individual, either one, if it bothers you that much to not be armed, don't go to those places that do not allow you to be armed. That's why public gun carry rights are so very important. And you need to properly identify the difference between public rights and private rights, and how they're to be opposed and combated. And don't mix them up or nitpick or anything like that. Now, the other consequence of carrying, if your wife is anything like mine and you get removed from the park and you ruin her vacation because of your stupid little thing that she only considers to be a toy, the doghouse could be much worse than the misdemeanor that you would otherwise face. So anyway, I hope that answers the question, and in no way is anything that I've said here intended to be insensitive to recent events or any sort of violence that's occurred in the past or that will occur in the future. As a matter of fact, it is far from it. And my hope is that people will be able to see that point that I'm trying to make. All right. We'll see y'all later.